No matter what workout Jeff Nippard did, whether he did this new program or went back to his old program and decided to actually, I don't know, train with intensity, he would have got the same results.
One does not simply
sell old programs to old subscribers.
I've been on YouTube for like 16 years, guys, and I'll be honest with you, I never thought I would see the day where there would be this much backlash from the YouTube fitness community towards these science-based content creators, and I could not be happier about it. I've been seeing it for a very long time, probably the past 8 years, where things just started getting more and more complicated. All these newbie lifters started getting more and more confused going to the gym, had no idea what to do. They started to think that the old school bodybuilding exercises weren't the most optimal for gains anymore, and they started to look for, I guess, lack for a better word, shortcuts in order to grow faster, get bigger faster, because that's what they were seeing online. All these guys coming out, I do this and my arms got huge. I do this and my chest exploded. I do this and my squat and my deadlift increased, right? All the while, most of the time, it was just mediocre information, and the guys that were putting the content out there were probably juicing their balls off. Because 99% of the fitness influencers that you see online producing this content, they're not natural. In fact, I think I'm probably the only person who has the Kenny KO stamp of approval as being the one and only natural influencer on YouTube. And that's a hard stamp of approval to get at. And my wife says to me, she goes, you know what, Scott? You should toot your horn a lot more often. That sounds weird. But you know what? She's right. Guys, I'm 41 years old. I don't do bodybuilding to be the biggest in the gym. I don't do bodybuilding to compete on stage. In fact, I've never competed on stage. In fact, I was the first fitness influencer to ever even get a supplement sponsorship, not being an athlete with BSN. You guys know that, right? I do fitness because I love pushing my own limits. And that's inside and outside of the gym. I can go to the gym, I can lift super heavy, I have a lean physique, and I can also go outside, I can run 10 miles, I can do a Tough Mudder, I can do a Spartan race. I have a functionally fit body at 41 years old. I've had abs my entire life, and this isn't me bragging. This is just me trying to stress the fact that, you know what, guys? The basics work. They've always worked, and they will continue to work. You're better off following programs from these old school bodybuilders that had way better physiques than what we see today versus all this new age bullshit that's trying to be shoved down your throat for a few different reasons. Number one, guys, you know what? The way a business works is you got to make money. And unfortunately, what Jeff Nippard and Mike Israetel and all these science-based guys are doing, they're taking advantage of this new generation that for whatever reason thinks they need to reinvent the wheel. They're taking advantage of their curiosity of learning more about science to find new ways to train. And what ends up happening when you take someone who's never been to the gym before, you put them on a program, no matter what program it is, could be an old school program, could be one of these new science-based bullshit programs, right? Doesn't matter what it is. You put them on that program, you increase their calories, their muscles start training with exercises using heavier weights, they're gonna see progress. It's called NEWBIE GAINS. And that is the main reason why I think this next generation is so lost, because they started going to the gym, not focusing on the basics of just like heavy bench, heavy squat, heavy deadlift, right? All of the heavy barbell bent over row, heavy overhead press, not just focusing on the core basic movements and then some variations of isolations in order to grow. They go to the gym and they just start playing with these boutique exercises because their favorite influencer said it adds like 10% more activation on whatever muscle group they're trying to target. And then what you end up getting is an entire generation that is now doing this stuff. Let me play this video for you guys. Like, this is what you're seeing more and more on Instagram. And these guys, they are seeing progress. But all they're really doing is they're tapping into their newbie gains. So they're going to see some progress. Then it's going to slowly taper off. And they're going to wonder why they're not able to build muscle. And it's because they don't go to the gym to focus on lifting heavy with higher intensity every time, and progressively overloading. That's what I teach in my programs. And I'll say something else, guys. There was a point, maybe like 8 or 9 years ago. I don't know when the science-based stuff really started kicking in. Probably like 8 years ago or so, where I literally sat down and I thought to myself, and I'm like, am I like not doing this right? Like, should I be learning more of this stuff? Because I've always just focused on the basics. That's what I was taught. That's how I made tremendous progress my entire life. That's how all of my friends in the gym that I went to made tremendous progress, got really big, got really strong. And fitness just always seemed really simple to me. And when I would meet fans at like the Arnold Classic or, the Olympia for 13 years straight, right? I was with BSM for 13 years, went to the shows. I would talk to people and they would be like, I love your content on your channel because you keep things simple and easy to understand. And that's how I made the most progress. And then when all the science-based stuff started coming out, it's almost like fitness even started getting confusing to me, someone who's been doing this their entire life, because I'm like, should I be doing all these variations of all these exercises and all these different techniques? And I kind of had to just close that door and be like, no, because that's not what's worked. It has been proven to work. It's not the way I've trained my clients and seen tremendous results. The way I've trained my clients and seen tremendous results is by sticking to the basics. And in fact, the program that has been shit on the most, and a lot of these science kids now are saying like 5-day bodybuilding split is bad because you have to hit every muscle group multiple times a week for multiple growth windows. Sure, that's one way to train. You can train that way. In fact, when I have a lagging area I want to work on, I will train that body part twice a week. I'll make room for it, right? But for me, I enjoy chest and triceps, back and biceps, right? Shoulders and traps, legs, splitting my legs into 2 separate days. I enjoy that type of training. Therefore, I actually train harder when I do that type of training. And if you guys want to try any of the programs on my website, just scan the QR code and you have access to all of them for free, even my home programs that only require a light set of dumbbells. And every single program comes with a PDF download, comes with Excel spreadsheets for calendars, videos for all of the routines. It's all jam-packed there. And if you're interested on one-on-one coaching, I'll put this link down in the info section below. I do offer that as well. I do it virtually in my home gym, and it's actually a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. But let's get back to these science-based things, because you guys saw me talk about Jeff Nippard and his last video that he did where he basically discovered that lifting heavy produces results, right? But I would say the person getting the most flack right now is Mike Israetel. Like, all these videos keep popping up, but they call him Bubbatron or Bubonic, and they're pointing out all the obvious to him. This was my favorite video, popped up yesterday. Let me play this for you guys. This is like a spoof on The Incredibles. I'll link this one down below too if you guys want to save it. I think it's absolutely hilarious. Anyways, getting back to my main point, right? Before I get into the Jeff Nippard stuff, I want to play this clip from Greg Doucette's video he did where he said Jeff Nippard outed himself, because he says a lot of the things that I say and a lot of the things that I believe. So let me put that in.
Hard. You really have to push yourself. And so I demonstrated this in the gym. I was doing my lat pull downs as well as the abductors. And you could see I had trained to failure. But did that mean I needed to stop? Whatever happened to going to the gym and finding ways to make the sets harder? Force reps, drop sets, having your partner help you out.
And those are the things that I focus on in my programs. Force sets, drop sets, burn sets, supersets, right? Like, all of these techniques take the basics that have always worked and make those exercises and those ways of training more intense. You don't have to change your workout program. You don't have to find something new every 6 to 8 weeks or 8 to 10 months or whatever they want to tell you. All you have to do is just find ways to make your workouts more intense. And that's what Greg is saying here.
Pausing the weight, squeezing, feeling the muscle. There are ways to make workouts harder. The problem is Jeff Nippard had been bamboozled, seduced by Mike Israetel. Mr. Mike told him no, 2 or 3 reps in reserve, that you have to train easy.
So if you're limited on time, just do one hard all-out set for each exercise and get in and out.
All this does is prove that whatever you want to do, you can cherry pick it. And so what did Jeff Nippard want to do? He wanted to sell you more programs. I mean, how many times is he going to reinvent the wheel? He has a training program for this, a new training program for that, a new training program for this. Every couple of years, he releases a new training program and says, based on science, this is how you need to train.
And that's where they're taking advantage of all these newcomers, these beginners going to the gym and taking advantage of their newbie gains. And that's why this video irritated me so much, because Jeff himself in this video admits that he used to train with a lot of volume. We saw the Solomon Nelson video where he was pointing out that Jeff's workouts had incredible amounts of volume, like 50 sets plus per per body part in terms of volume, right? He's always trained with a lot of volume. In this video, he talks about how lately, his workouts, he wasn't as locked in, he was getting bored, he was on his phone, talking to more people, and that was the reason why he decided to try this min-max program where now he's just lifting heavier and doing less sets, and basically made it seem like now that is the best way to train. Well, guys, if he would have just continued to train as hard as he could with lots of intensity with his previous programs that clearly worked because he built a great physique and he was selling those to you, and he would have just locked in and put his phone away and stopped talking to people, he would have tightened up in the same 100 days doing the same old programs. But that's not how you sell a new program. That's not how you get new people finding you, discovering you to buy your stuff. You have to show them, hey, I found something better, and that's this whole min-max thing, right? No matter what workout Jeff Nippard did, whether he did this new program or went back to his old program and decided to actually, train with intensity, he would have got the same results. And that's what someone who's been training for 28 years, okay, you want to talk about scientific research, I know when I'm slacking in the gym. I know when my body's not feeling as tight. I know when I go to the gym and do my workouts and I'm not looking my best and I'm not lifting as heavy as I used to. I know that because I can track it all mentally. I know how much weight I used to lift in my 20s and my early 30s when I had more time, less stress to go to the gym and dedicate myself. And I know between my 30s and 40s, I wasn't training as hard as I used to. And I used extra work as an excuse to be a bit more lazy in the gym, right? That's why over the past 8 or 9 months, I've tightened up and I've been able to actually start looking a lot more like I did back in my early years on YouTube, because I just increased the intensity and I went back to my old school way of lifting, which is high volume. I do enjoy high volume, but I'm not doing 50 sets per muscle group. I'm doing more like 12 to 15 sets, but I'm including drop sets, I'm including supersets, all of these things that have been proven to work, and I have been able to make tremendous progress getting back to what I would consider my peak on how the best I looked in my entire career, right? That's all I had to do. But that's not going to sell you a new program, because I'm still referring you guys back to the programs that have been on my website for years because they work. Go back to the well, go back to the basics, and you're gonna do just fine. But if you're preying on people's newbie gains, which is what I believe these guys are doing, because Jeff gets a lot of views on his videos. He gets a lot of views on his Instagram. He's constantly putting out studies. He's constantly showcasing scientific research papers and cherry-picking information in order to prove points that may or may not be valid, right? I'm not saying science is bad. I'm just saying we know what works. We know the basics work. And if you've never gone to the gym before and you do this new min-max program that Jeff has, while he's simultaneously kind of shitting on his old programs, you're going to think that is the best way to train because you made all this progress, when in reality, all you really did was tap into those newbie gains. Or maybe you've been lifting for a long time. Maybe you have been doing high volume and your life just got a bit more crazy because you did this thing called getting older, right? You got older, you have a family, you have a wife or a husband, you have kids, promotion at work. You're not training as hard in the gym. You get a lot on your mind. So maybe you just don't have time to train as hard as you used to with a high volume program, and you need something that's going to allow you to get excited, get in the gym, get in and out in about 45 to 60 minutes, and train as hard as you can with high intensity. And that's when the min-max program would come in great, right? I'm not saying it's a bad program. I'm just saying the way it's being pitched, I don't agree with, because it's confusing. And the last thing we want to do is confuse people in this space. In fact, You know, Josh Brett put out a great video talking about this. I'll link to it down in the info section below. But let me play this short clip for you and we'll talk about it.
Probity, honesty, transparency, and intellectual integrity isn't just a formality. It's the foundation that allows the public to trust us. The moment that promise is broken, the credibility of the individual might take a hit, but more importantly, the credibility of science itself suffers. When audiences see people with advanced degrees editing documents after criticism, deleting evidence, or rewriting history, it feeds a much wider narrative that experts cannot be trusted.
And this is why I'm so happy to see all of this pushback from the YouTube fitness community, is because this entire scandal, and it started with the, Jeff Nippard putting out that video on how to look enhanced while still being natural, whatever the title of his video was. It all started there, and then the walls just came crumbling down, and people just started getting pissed off because they felt like they were being lied to. They felt like they were being told people who aren't natural are natural. They see Mike Israetel doing all the weird stuff that he's doing, right, with his PhD and his dissertation and all the stuff that Solomon Nelson exposed. People are pushing back. And because people are pushing back so hard, you're seeing more content creators coming out saying, you know what, guys? We've been telling you for years, sticking to the basics, progressive overload, increasing your intensity. Those are the things that have always worked, and those are the things that will continue to work. Even my friend Tanner, if you guys aren't subscribed to Tanner Shuck, make sure you do. I really enjoy his content. We've actually been chatting for probably the last year and a half on IG here and there about a lot of this stuff. And I love his message because he always just goes back to the well and says the same thing that I've been preaching my entire life. Train hard. Push your limits. But let me play this clip for you.
But here's the problem with the science-based community. It's a closed ecosystem where everyone validates everyone else. You start seeing patterns. One releases a new app, another features it. One drops a new training concept. The rest all cover it within weeks. It's clever marketing, but it creates the illusion of scientific consensus when half the time they're just passing around the same bullshit study. Meanwhile, the average lifter gets overwhelmed. RIR, RPE, stretch-mediated hypertrophy, long-length partials. Buzzwords stack like they're Lego bricks.
And he's exactly right. It's like these guys are basically just running cover for each other. They're putting each other in their videos. And it is clever marketing, right? But at the end of the day, what ends up happening is that you now live in a world where you just don't know who to believe or what to believe. But I can tell you, if you just stick to the basics, you will see results. Also, when it comes to resting between sets is super important. You need to have ample recovery time in order to push your limits from set 1 to set 2 to set 3, and if you're following one of Jeff's programs, all the way up to set 50, right? And a really easy way to track your sets is to download my mobile game, Wag Me Defense. Seriously, guys, this is a huge part of my life. I've been building out this mobile gaming franchise for the last 4 years. It's tower defense, strategy-based mobile gaming, and matches are literally 2 to 3 minutes long. So you just finished a heavy set. You want to make sure you're resting 2 to 3 minutes, maybe 4 max. Whip out your phone, download Wag Me Defense, and have yourself a match. And if you happen to see, oh, the Hermanity, that's my username in the game, just know that you're battling me. And also, guys, I'd really appreciate the support. So download, give it a 5-star rating, and let me know what you think down in the comment section below. We have anime, we have comics, we have toys and collectibles, we have cosplay. This is a real suit. I actually wore that in New York City, and it lights up, and I walked like 2 miles in it. I wanted to die. I was like, I'm strong. The suit's 88 pounds. I'm like, I can wear this. It's not going to be a big deal because it's heavy on the shoulders. Oh my God, my hip flexors, right? Walking around on the uneven pavement where I can barely bend my knees in that suit. It was wild. But dude, go to the website, wagmegames.com, watch the trailer for the anime. It's the next Star Wars. You're going to see us everywhere by this time next year. That's all I have for you guys today. And I know it sucks, and it might suck to see like all of us kind of like going down this drama hellhole, right? But at the end of the day, there needs to be a reset in this space. It's actually one of the reasons why I kind of pulled away 5 years ago and stopped doing as much content, because I was just getting kind of sick of everyone just trying to reinvent the wheel. Because reinventing the wheel when it comes to fit, like, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Look at the physiques of the past. Look at the golden age of bodybuilding. Half the exercises they did back then, most of you have never heard of, and they're great exercises. We need to get back to that. In fact, it might be worth all of us out here calling out the bullshit, all my fellow fitness content creators, it might be worth all of us literally just banding together and creating videos together, calling out the BS, and just pushing what works.